call this meeting to order at 6 p.m. I want to acknowledge that we are in Treaty 1 territory and the land on which we are meeting is the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Ojibwe, Oji-Cree, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and the homeland of the Métis Nation. As a council and a municipality, we will continue to work on moving forward in partnership with Indigenous communities in the spirit of reconciliation and collaboration. I'll ask for a motion for the adoption of the minutes, please.
Resolved that the minutes of the regular meeting of council and the 2025 budget deliberation meeting number 3, both held at City Hall on January 13th, 2025, be adopted as circulated.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Meyer, seconded by Councillor Nichols. All those in favor? And that is carried. We have no delegations this evening, no public hearings. We'll move into Finance, Legislative, and Property Committee. Councillor Massey.
Thank you, Worship. Finance, Legislative, and Property Committee has no report at this point in the meeting.
Thank you. City Planning and Economic Development Committee. Councillor Meyer.
Thank you, Your Worship. City Planning and Economic Development has nothing to report at this moment.
Thank you. Community Services Committee. Councillor Doyle.
Thank you, Your Worship. Community Services Committee has nothing to report.
Thank you. Waterworks Committee. Councillor Nichols.
Thank you, Your Worship. Waterworks Committee has nothing to report at this portion of the meeting.
Thank you. Transportation Committee. Councillor Porter.
Thank you, Your Worship. Transportation has nothing to report.
Thank you. Public Safety Committee. Councillor Doyle.
Thank you, Your Worship. Public Safety Committee has nothing to report.
Thank you. We have no items of deferred business. We'll move right into new business. We will start with our 2025 budget speech. Finance, Legislative, and Property Committee. Councillor Massey, I'll ask you to go to the lectern.
Thank you, Worship and colleagues. It's my pleasure as Finance Chair to present the 2025 City of Portage la Prairie budget. Before I do, though, you can't do a speech like this in a budget without a couple of thanks. So I want to, first of all, thank our Mayor, Mayor Knox. You keep us focused on our strategic plan. It's been great working on this budget with you, and it's really reflective in the budget we're going to announce today. So thank you, and thank you for your passion in our community. I want to thank my colleagues, Councillors Doyle, Porter, Nichols, Espy, and Meyer. You folks have been great to work with on this budget. You're straightforward, honest, direct, and you care about one thing in this room is your betterment of our community of Portage la Prairie. So I commend you. To our senior staff and all the staff that have contributed to this budget, I want to thank Jen Sadney, especially, who I've worked with very closely. You are all professional people, and you really care about our community. And it's been a pleasure to work with you, and thank you for your input into the budget. And lastly, of course, our city manager will be leaving his last budget. I know the mayor will be talking about him a little bit later, but thank you, Nathan. As finance chair, it's been also great working with you. It's your last budget. It's a good news budget, so that's good. You're leaving on a high, Nathan, so thank you for all your efforts. In 2024, the city launched the Community Safety Officer Program in alignment with Council's strategic initiatives, particularly focused on community safety and well-being. Due to the program's success and the positive feedback from the community, it has expanded throughout the year. Building on this momentum, the city plans to further grow the program in 2025 by adding 2 additional community safety officers, increasing the total staff to 7, including 6 CAOs and a manager. The expansion will enhance patrol coverage and enable extended operational hours, something we've heard from our community. And it's strengthening the program's effectiveness and reach. We said we would make this program a success, and we are. And we will continue to use every tool in our toolbox to make Portage la Prairie a safe community for all of us. Infrastructure. In 2025, the city plans to allocate a total of $114.1 million for capital projects and purchases. The largest investment is the upgrade and expansion of the water treatment plant. Are you listening, Councillor Nichols? This $100.4 million project involves major enhancements to the existing facility, which will not only improve water quality, but will significantly improve reliability as well as increase its production capacity. The expanded capacity will directly support economic growth by ensuring a reliable and abundant water supply, which is crucial for attracting and sustaining business opportunities in the region. The project will be funded through a combination of grants, reserves, and debentures, ensuring a sustainable and well-managed financing approach. The budget also includes a significant investment in the water pollution control facility, with funding secured through the Investing in Canada infrastructure program. We are committed to work closely with the province to address the challenges that have delayed progress on this project. For more details on this initiative, please visit the City Projects page on our website. These initiatives are directly in line with our strategic direction as a council to expand economic opportunities in the City of Portage la Prairie and the region. Multi-year strategy implementations. The city will begin implementing its strategy for roadway infrastructure investment in 2025, which includes an additional, this is important, additional $700,000 for road improvements, more than doubling the previous annual investment. This funding will focus on road surfacing, reconstruction, and ongoing maintenance and repairs. With the completion of the Causeway project, the Canadian Community Building Fund, formerly the gas tax, as many of you know, will be redirected to support this increased investment, ensuring there is no additional financial burden on our citizens and taxpayers. We heard as council loud and clear that our residents wanted more done on our roads, and we are delivering on what we heard. In line with the Green Space Investment Priority Plan, the city is investing $310,000 to enhance recreational opportunities and green spaces within our community. These funds will be used to repair and replace play structures at McKay Avenue Playground, as well as to construct a seasonal washroom and an active transportation path at the Simplot Central Park. These improvements will contribute to creating more accessible, vibrant spaces for our residents to enjoy. This Green Space Investment Priority Plan will improve the quality of life for Portagers, and it's also one of our key strategic initiatives as a council. Other capital projects. As part of council's strategic initiatives, enhancing quality of life and fostering the development of vibrant neighborhoods were identified as key priorities. In support of these goals, the city will invest in the design and construction of St. John Street, a new roadway that will connect the southeast development to River Road. This crucial infrastructure project will facilitate access and development of the former Agassiz land. Additionally, an application has been submitted to the Manitoba Growth and Renewal Opportunities for Municipalities program for 50% funding to support this project. And we are hopeful and optimistic that this will be approved by the province. Other key capital projects include completion of City Hall renovations featuring installation of the lift from the first to second floor and the installation of new exterior lighting. A great refresh to our City Hall, but more importantly, it's to improve accessibility for all Portagers. Completion of fire hall renovations encompassing updates to office spaces, operations, and maintenance areas. Replacement of the fire rescue vehicle. Expansion of the community safety officer vehicle fleet to support the growing department. Support for the design and rebuilding of the Coco Platts Community Center, something that's great and finally has become a reality. Enhancement of infrastructure along the existing Garia Creek trails. An acquisition of an aquatic harvester to effectively manage weed growth in Crescent Lake, pending the necessary approvals from federal government. Expanding our staff complement. The city's facility maintenance staff are responsible for the ongoing maintenance and repair of essential city assets, including the water and wastewater plants, reservoirs, lift stations, and various owned city buildings, such as City Hall, the Library, Herman Pryor Center, the Gillespie Center, Fire Hall, and Mackenzie Night Daycare. Given the critical nature of repairs at the water and wastewater facilities, these often take priority, leading to less urgent repairs being either contracted out or deferred until more immediate issues are addressed. The addition of a laborer to the department would enable more timely attention to routine maintenance and allow for a proactive approach to schedule preventative upkeep of city facilities. It's no different than your own home. Get those preventative repairs done and avoid a bigger problem later, and that's what we're doing. Beautification of our community. As we continue to enhance the beauty and appeal of our city, it's important that we invest in maintaining key infrastructures like Saskatchewan Avenue and the Crescent Lake Causeway. These areas not only serve as gateways to our community, but also showcase the pride we take in our city, which aligns perfectly with our strategic initiatives. Ensuring that these spaces remain visually appealing is a wise investment, especially as they make a lasting impression on visitors. I am pleased that Council has supported this initiative, reflecting our collective commitment to presenting our community in the best possible light. Community partnerships and grants. The city partners with a variety of organizations to deliver essential services to residents and businesses, including community grants that support impactful initiatives. And I would like to highlight one of these organizations this evening. The Prairie Fusion Arts Entertainment plays a vital role in enriching our community by providing accessible, fine, and visual arts through free exhibits, professional programming, and unique performances. Their commitment to inclusivity is reflected in affordable programming and facility upgrades that ensure accessibility for all, including marginalized groups. By remaining responsive to the evolving needs of the community, the Prairie Fusion Arts Entertainment continues to foster a vibrant, community-driven arts hub that strengthens the cultural fabric of the region. A comprehensive list of funding allocations for community and partnership organizations, as well as city committees, will be posted on the city's website in the coming days. I am pleased that Council has approved $2.6 million in this area. Each organization that applied for funding will be contacted directly to inform them of Council's decisions regarding their application. We certainly thank all of these organizations for the work they do in our community. Now, how does all this shake out for the 2025 property taxes? 2025 is a general assessment year in Manitoba. Under provincial legislation, all properties in Manitoba are assessed every 2 years to ensure assessments keep pace with changing market values. The average market rate adjustment for a single-family dwelling in Portage la Prairie is an increase of 8.7%. That's how much the assessments have gone up in our city. For property owners, this means that if the value of the property has not been impacted by significant renovations, construction of new buildings, or demolition of existing buildings, owners can expect to see the municipal portion of their property taxes increase by a modest 2.86%. That's 2.86%. As a result of inflationary impacts, it is prudent to increase reserve allocations for future infrastructure costs and capital requirements. Due to changes in operating grant funding and service contracts, the city has been able to do this, investing in our reserves for our future with a minimal impact on our taxpayers. Just a note now on the changes to the provincial education tax credit system. This is not a city policy, this is provincial policy, but it's important that our residents know about this. In 2025, the provincial tax credits applied directly to the education portion of your property tax statements are undergoing significant changes for residential properties. The education property tax credit and the school tax credit are being discontinued and replaced by the homeowner's affordability tax credit of up to $1,500. So you are capped now at $1,500 of credit. Similar to the former education property tax credit, only the property owner's primary residence will qualify for this credit. So please be aware of this. It will be on your tax statements that the City of Portage will be issuing, but it is provincial policy on education credits. Budget summary. In summary, the 2025 budget includes a general fund net operating budget of $25.3 million, with $14.2 million generated through tax revenue and a capital budget of $7.3 million. A utility fund net operating budget of $15.8 million and a capital budget of $106.8 million. This proposed budget, as I mentioned, will result in an increase of 2.86% to property owners' municipal taxes. This year, the year-over-year increase for a residential property with an assessed value of $250,000 in 2024 and a market rate adjustment of 8.7% in 2025. So the total for that house that you will pay in additional municipal taxes is $67.67, which is approximately $5.64 per month. All this for increased CSOs, green space investments, infrastructure investments, beautification, and putting more money into our reserves. And I want to stress, unlike many municipalities are having to undergo, no service cuts to our city for residents. The next step of our 2025 budget process is to await the Portage la Prairie School Division's budget, which will be used to finalize our financial plan and determine the total mill rate. Your final tax bill will also be affected by the province of Manitoba's decision to replace the education, property tax credit, and school tax credit with the new homeowners affordability credit. We expect to complete our 2025 financial plan by April, following a public hearing where we hear from our residents to approve the document. And it will be submitted to the provincial government after that hearing. Your tax bill will be mailed by early June. Additionally, we will provide various tools on our city's website to help you calculate your 2025 taxes in advance. The 2025 budget speech will be posted on the city's website in the coming days. In conclusion, Madam Mayor and Council, I am proud of the collaborative effort between the city administration and City Council in crafting a forward-thinking budget that continues to, number one, foster sustainable growth through the development of vibrant neighborhoods, enhance recreational and cultural opportunities, green spaces, and expand our active transportation network. Third, invest in community safety and well-being. Fourth, strengthen infrastructure to drive economic investment in our community. Fifth, support beautification projects that showcase the pride we have in our community. And most importantly, ensure our budget is mindful, and we always do this on council, of our citizens' ability to pay. 2.86% tax increase, $67.67, $5.64 a month for a home assessed at $250,000. Again, thank you to my fellow council members, Mayor Knox, for your work on this budget. It's been a pleasure working with all of you. I just want to conclude by saying we are the city of possibilities. And this council is taking our strategic direction and making our possibilities into reality, concrete, real things for our citizens. And I look forward to working with all of you for more great things in 2025 and beyond. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Massey. Well done. And I'll let you continue, Councillor Massey.
Thank you. Thank you, Worship and colleagues. I would move that the Council of the City of Portage la Prairie approve the 2025 City of Portage la Prairie budget as presented in the budget speech.
Moved by Councillor Massey, seconded by Councillor Meyer. Any questions or comments? Councillor Meyer?
Thank you, Your Worship. I just want to say from the Economic Development City Planning Chair, this budget has a lot that shows the investment into our city. And anytime we invest in our city, whether it be beautification, whether it be infrastructure, whether it be the new CSOs, it just adds to the city, which really encourages everything from private investment, corporate investment, and so on. So I'm proud to be able to sit here and hear Councillor Massey announce the budget, and proud to say that my support will be behind it, and really, really good job. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Nichols.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd like to thank Councillor Massey and administration for the hard work and the determination and in keeping this budget in line with our strategic direction. And I did pay close attention and Councillor Massey in terms of the infrastructure, and which we'll speak more to tonight. And I'm very proud this budget is the way it is, and I see a lot encapsulated in our plans going forward and good things for our city. So thank you for your work, and I will be supporting this budget. Thank you very much.
Councillor Porter.
I'd just like to add in, I'd also like to thank Councillor Joe Massey, through your worship, as well as our great management team and administration for this great budget. I'm going to be in total support of this as well, but one of the big things is, as I'm very proud of as a council, is the new initiatives that you'll have to appreciate that we've added into this funds and into the budget that addresses some of stakeholders' concerns and wishes. So, yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Doyle.
Thank you, Your Worship. Great speech, Councillor Massey. I applaud you for your work on this and administration for all of your work on this. I'm excited for this budget. As the Chair of Public Safety, I'm excited to see some more investment into our Community Safety Officer program personally. We've all seen the impact that the Community Safety Officers have had so far in our city. So to expand this program, more officers, expanded hours, I think is a step in the right direction for our city. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Just thank you for the kind words, Councillor Massey. And again, you've done a great job in your chair position for finance chair and delivered that speech very well. And I know you take a lot of effort into what you do in that position and understanding it and making sure that you're communicating it with us as council, but also our citizens. Big thanks to Mr. Pito and Ms. Sadney and the rest of all of our team on how you've done this budget and helped us walk through the process. I think for me, the biggest two things that this year I am very proud on with this budget is some of the things that we've put in place that are long-term planning that we've done, whether it's roads, whether it's green spaces, etc. And then also just our transparency in this process that we've provided the citizens of Portage la Prairie, something that we want to make sure that we continue to do, because this is everyone's city and they need to know that the decisions that we're making, that we have their best interest. And sometimes it's not always exactly the way things people want to see. But they need to know that we are doing our due diligence and making the best decisions that we can with what we have. So kudos to you. Well done. And I'm happy to support this budget for 2025. All those in favor? And that is carried. And kudos to Miss Van Art too, because I asked her to video it and she held that phone up for a very long time. So I appreciate that. Well done.
Even better.
Okay. New business, December building reports. City Planning and Economic Development, Councillor Meyer.
Thank you, Your Worship. And it's good that this falls right on the heels of a new budget. It's been said many times, expand the tax base, not raise the taxes. And I think when you look at, this is our year in review for the entire 2024 calendar year, and it just goes to show you that the tax base is expanding, which does allow us as a council, obviously, to maybe keep taxes maybe reasonable depending on what our services and what our needs are. So a couple of things I'd just like to point out. It's not a lot different than it was at the end of November, but it is the end of the year. And although last month was maybe a little quieter, the entire year was an actual record year. And I really got to congratulate not only our planning district, of course, and I know our director's not here tonight. Our director of PRED, our investment team, and all the works alike, because it's through their efforts that these permits get done, which is a direct result of investment within our community. Year over year, when you normalize it, we talk about the hospital, and of course that was the major portion of the permits. But when you normalize it year over year and take out last year's in 2024 or 2023 and this year's in 2024, you will see a significant increase in some areas. So the permits were up in general. We went from 124 million at 116,267 permits in 2003 to over 311 permits, $344,473,000 in 2024. So incredible record year. And again, we do know that the hospital does account for a large portion of that. But once again, I just want to stress, you normalize it, take it out, you're going to see some drastic increases. Trend continues, and I won't get too much into it, but you're going to see an increase in new single housing, not so much the permits, but the values. So people are building certainly maybe a bit more expensive houses or maybe larger houses. You're going to see significant increase in the repair side. So as we said before, that really shows that people are starting to invest back into their community by investing in their property, and whether they're upgrading it, adding addition, putting on a new deck, whatever it may be at that point in time. You're going to see the same trend continue with the commercial side. Industrial, of course, we talked a little bit about that. Institutional was the biggest one. And I won't get too much into the RM, although I do kind of talk about it being regionally. Of course, we have the city and the RM numbers there, but we do look at it as a region. And probably the biggest increase was in some of the cottage industries, where you talk about house moving and then you talk about RTMs, which is ready to move houses. So you'll see a significant increase in the dollar value of those. So kind of a cottage industry that's come to Portage, and it certainly all adds up at the end of the day. So that said, once again, thank you to the planning district, everybody that works there, obviously the investment group, PRED, who has a significant stake in this as well. And again, it shows that shovels in the ground, expand the tax base, not increase taxes. If there's any questions?
Any questions for Councillor Meyer?
Seeing none, thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you.
And I'll go on to January of 2025. Not today, though.
Okay, next item of new business, approval of participation in Community Economic Development Initiative, Community Services Committee, Councillor Doyle.
Thank you, Your Worship. The issue at hand this evening is to approve the participation in the Community Economic Development Initiative, also known as the SETI program. So one of our council's top strategic priorities under the Inclusive and Informed Community Initiative is to investigate partnerships with the local First Nations group and pursue economic partnerships that could lead to economic investment and increased cooperation. So SETI seeks to support First Nations and neighboring municipalities to build respectful and equitable partnerships and to develop capacity for long-term planning for joint community economic development and land use. So in the fall of 2024, administration applied to be a part of the SETI program in partnership with Long Plain First Nation and Dakota Plains Wahpeton Nation. I think that's how Chief Smoke said how to pronounce it.
That's right.
We were one of the 5 successful partnerships selected in the Prairie region. So the following council resolution is required to participate in the program. So whereas the City of Portage la Prairie intends to improve intergovernmental relationships with Long Plain First Nation and Dakota Plains Wahpeton Nation and enter into a community-to-community relationship with Long Plain First Nation and Dakota Wahpeton Nation. Excuse me. Whereas the City of Portage la Prairie commits to the participation of the community in the First Nation Municipal Community Economic Development Initiative from today's date, January 27th, 2025, until March of 2027. Whereas the City of Portage la Prairie Council has appointed Mayor Sherilyn Knox as their elected official working group champion and Councillor Joe Massey as their alternate. Whereas the City of Portage la Prairie has appointed the City Manager and Diane Van Aert as their staff working group champions, and whereas the City of Portage la Prairie commits to the following resources in collaboration with Long Plain First Nation, Dakota Plains Wahpeton Nation through collaborative joint working group. And you can see it listed there. So it is the administrative recommendation And I would move that the Council of the City of Portage la Prairie support the city's participation in the First Nation Municipal Economic Development Initiative from the date of this council resolution until March of 2027.
Moved by Councillor Doyle, seconded by Councillor Nichols. Any questions or comments? No? My comment is just we're very excited to be a part of this program and, you know, have had the first start of it with our first workshop and some regular meetings, and we're just looking forward to seeing how we can grow these relationships and move us forward in our region with our with Long Plain and Dakota Plains Wahpeton Nation. So, all those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you. Next item of new business, Canadian Housing application for water treatment plant expansion. Waterworks Committee, Councillor Nichols.
Thank you, Your Worship. Colleagues, what we have in front of us is the issue is to apply for grant funding from Canadian Housing Infrastructure Fund, or known as CHIF, for the city water treatment plant expansion here in the city of Portage. So the alternative is make the application to Canadian Housing Infrastructure or don't, but I think that this is a really good step forward in moving forward. And the city of Portage la Prairie has been working with Manitoba Water Services Board and Stantec Engineering to design an expansion to the existing city of Portage la Prairie water treatment plant, which is necessary to meet current and future water production requirements. This expansion will not only increase capacity to better position the city and surrounding area for growth, but will significantly improve redundancy to permit maintenance and improve reliability. The project also increases water quality by reducing hardness and organics. The project is still in the design stage, but is estimated to cost approximately $96.6 million. Pending funding and logistics with permitting and agreements, the project could be ready for tender and construction later in 2025. The government of Manitoba has already provided $40.25 million in funding in January 2024, and $3.26 million in interest on the provincial funding will be available for use by the city. The federal government announced Canadian Housing Infrastructure Fund, CHIF, is a $6 billion program which supports the objectives of Canadians' housing plan. Under this fund, $1 billion has been dedicated to providing communities across Canada with funding to build or improve critical infrastructure, such as drinking water, wastewater, stormwater, and solid waste. The remaining $5 billion will be delivered through agreements and with provinces and territories that support local infrastructure priorities while advancing federal housing objectives. Projects submitted to CHIF are eligible up to 50% of the total project costs. Administration would like to ask the Council to approve submittal of the application to the CHIF to fund up to $48.3 million for the project, which is equivalent to 50% of the estimated total. The project timeline indicates the tender documents for this project will be released in the summer of 2025, and the city must have its share of the funding secured before the tender release. The city has already issued a request of the Province of Manitoba Municipal Relations Board for permission to borrow up to $55.204 million if needed to complete the project. This includes the remaining capital as well as borrowing costs. If the city's CHIF application is successful in receiving full amount available, the city's share of the project could potentially be reduced to an estimated $4.79 million. However, federal support in any amount would offset not only the capital costs, but also reduce the long-term borrowing costs, which in turn will reduce the utility water rate increases that would be needed to fund this project. So, in seeing that in alignment with our council's strategic plan, we meet quality of life and economic opportunity, inclusive and informed community. It's the administrative recommendation, and I so move that the council of the city of Portage la Prairie authorize the administration to apply to the Canadian Housing Infrastructure Fund, requesting 50% federal funding, or $48,300,000 for the city of Portage la Prairie water treatment plan expansion, and I so move.
Moved by Councillor Nichols, seconded by Councillor Porter. Any questions or comments? Councillor Massey.
Thank you, Worship. I support the recommendation. This is great that our staff have put together an application for this fund. This is a fund that the Federation of Canadian Municipalities worked on very hard to get. It's a direct application for municipalities, and it really would help us with our expansion. But one thing I'll say, Portage has always been there on cost-sharing programs, and I think that's the strength of City of Portage. It also looks favorably by other governments. We're ready to go if we get approval. So just one question maybe to administration. Are there any stacking rules because we have Water Services Board funding or anything that may prevent this from being looked at? Like, can we use this money on top of the Water Services Board money as well?
Thank you, Councillor Massey. Through your worship to Councillor Massey, I'll pass that question on to Ms. Friesen.
At this time, it is my understanding that we would be eligible for up to 50% of whatever Manitoba Water Services Board isn't funding. So that's why the application here is for everything beyond that amount. So.
Thank you. Anyone else? All those in favor? And that is carried. Next item of new business, we have possible alternative to water pollution control facility project delivery. Waterworks Committee, Councillor Nichols.
Thank you, Worship. Council, what we have in front of us is basically water pollution control facility federal grant funding is what we're looking at here. And the issue is to request a potential change to the conditions for federal and provincial funding for the water pollution control facility upgrade project under the Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program, so ICIP, to add flexibility to the city's method of project delivery. So alternatives are to request the province of Manitoba on behalf of the city to investigate the implications or a potential impact on the funding, federal funding for the water pollution control facility upgrade if the city decides to proceed with a project delivery method other than a public-private partnership, or P3 is otherwise known, as stipulated in the funding agreement. And number two is to maintain status quo and do not request a change. On September 12, 2016, Council approved proceeding with the upgrade of the water pollution control facility as a public-private partnership, or better known as P3, using the design, build, finance, operate, the design, build, finance, operate, and maintain model. While the P3 project delivery method has its merits, such as long-term cost certainty and full cost accounting to ensure sustainability, it is less flexible for the city for both initial construction, implementation, scheduling, and negotiation of construction contracts for expansion for developments in the future. Project funding was initially approved in July 2019 for the city's P3 project under the P3 Canada grant program, which has since been transferred into Infrastructure Canada. The funding agreement is contingent upon the city implementing the project as a public-private partnership, although not necessarily what's known as a DBFOM project. The city has not proceeded to the construction phase of the upgrading due to project construction cost inflation and the financial risk of such a large project that it represents to the stakeholders. The city was advised that the prospective P3 contractors or the bidders would not submit construction and operation financial proposals without the city's revenue risk being mitigated. No satisfactory method of mitigation has been adopted. The province denied the city's request to provide a financial backstop for the project to the city. Administration would like the flexibility to consider alternate methods of delivery of this project. Traditional design build, while the implementation method is not necessarily the most economical, nor does it guarantee full cost accounting, it offers the following advantages. Number one, potentially allows for a staged implementation plan for the water pollution control facility, upgrading with Manitoba Conservation and Climate approval, which would minimize the city's initial capital investment and lessen the city's financial exposure in the short term. Number 2, greater flexibility for the operation of the water pollution control facility. Number 3, greater flexibility when negotiating any required expansion of the water pollution control facility for the attraction and servicing of industry. And number 4, greater flexibility for determining wastewater treatment requirements for serving other developments within the city. Part B, or second, is progressive design build. And so that what we were speaking to, a P3 model with no operation and maintenance requirement for the contractor, is another method of project delivery worth consideration. However, it might not align well with a staged implementation strategy. While neither of these procurement methods fully mitigate the financial risk to the city, they present an opportunity for other financial risk mitigation measures. The ISIP interim contribution agreement is very specific. It is in its requirement to utilize a public-private partnership delivery method. Therefore, the province and federal government must agree to any change to the delivery method. It is recommended that the city make a request to amend the interim contribution agreement, ISIP funding agreement, to delete the reference to public-private partnership and Project Co, the private contractor in public-private partnership. The province has requested a council resolution to initiate discussions internally and with the federal government regarding potential changes to interim contribution agreement. So in looking at the recommendation, it aligns with our strategic plan in both economic opportunity, inclusive and informed community. So it's the administrative recommendation, and I so move that the Council of the City of Portage la Prairie request the province of Manitoba to investigate the implication on ISIP funding approval if the city proceeded with a project delivery method other than a public-private partnership, and further, that the Council of the City of Portage la Prairie request the provincial and federal governments to amend the interim contribution agreement to allow the city flexibility in selecting a project delivery method on condition that the approved funding under the Investing in Canada Infrastructure program remains. And I so move.
Moved by Councillor Nichols, second by Councillor Porter. Any questions or comments? I, for one, can say that I'm very glad to see this on our agenda this evening. This project has been, the whole time I've been on council, and a little bit, this feels like a little bit of first time motion forward that we've needed. And I would have to say that I just really thank our city manager and our director of waterworks, Ms. Friesen, for all their hard work, and also Kelly Braden, who works with us on this project. We need to move forward in some way, and this is hopefully a way forward. And I would also say I'd like to thank the new Minister of Municipal and Northern Relations, Glenn Samard, for actually moving us forward a little bit and having these discussions. So this is a new step forward. Hopefully it will take us somewhere where we can continue on with this project, as we know it's something that we need to do for our region. Councillor Meyer.
Thank you, Your Worship. And I just want to take a quick moment to echo your thoughts. I know that this was originally passed in 2016 when I was fortunate enough to sit around this table. In 2018, it was an open file. 6 years later, it's nowhere, it's the same place as it was 6 years ago, except for the cost. And I do know that, its costs have gone up significantly. If we don't find some other delivery method on it, movement on it, we're going to probably be here another 6 years from now. So I really congratulate administration and obviously our new minister for maybe coming up with an alternative. I still stand in support of this resolution, that if we can change the delivery method to get this project further to completion, to save everybody costs and something we got to get done anyways, you bet my support is there. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you. Anyone else? All those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you. We'll move into our new business of quarterly reports. We'll start with City Planning and Economic Development. Councillor Meyer.
Thank you, Your Worship. First off tonight, and this is really good, again, coming off the budget report, because it's all intertwined in addition to the building a permit report. So I'd like to take this opportunity to, of course, introduce our Director of Economic Development, Ms. O'Leary.
Thank you, Council, and good evening, everyone. Tonight I will share some key highlights and achievements from the fourth quarter of 2024 for PRED. So one of our main focuses is really focusing on what is the Portage Advantage. So this year we launched a webpage, which is a new online resource that showcases the region of Portage la Prairie as an agri-centre of excellence, emphasizing our region's exceptional market access and skilled workforce. It's really focused to design to attract investors by highlighting really what Portage la Prairie has and what makes us so special and why we are a place of investors' choice. And this is one of many projects that you will see highlighted in 2025 with the tagline of the Portage Advantage. In late October, as part of the PER committee, we conducted the first ever business walk blitz. So we got to visit 106 businesses in just 1 week. This initiative allowed us to gather valuable feedback directly from our businesses. It led to 27 individual action items to help the businesses grow and overcome challenges. The PER committee is actively working on 3 top areas that were identified and are currently creating tangible tools to help the business community mitigate these issues. So more news to come on that, and the business walks will be held again in October as our annual blitz. We also had a significant presence at the Bridge to Food trade show where we promoted our investment ready land. So we really focused on a collaborative effort with the Department of Agriculture and Protein Manitoba, and it provided Portage la Prairie an excellent opportunity to connect with international consulates and industry leaders, further positioning our region as a hub of agricultural development. In December, we partnered with the Department of Agriculture again to host an event showcasing career opportunities in the agricultural sector to youth. This event included tours and presentations at local agricultural businesses, highlighting the importance of agriculture as an economic driver in our region. In Q4, we also kicked off our industrial development strategy. A big thank you to our internal investment team for helping us move that forward. So that's really going to be focusing on our marketing efforts, synergies, and industrial collaboration. So continuing those efforts, and then regional infrastructure improvements. This strategy also aims to attract foreign direct investment and help grow the current industries in the region and support the growth of our industrial parks. Looking ahead to 2025, we have several key initiatives planned. We will be completing the industrial development strategy and launching the Portage Advantage video to complement our new tagline to further showcase our region's appeal. In addition, we will also be conducting the socioeconomic impact assessment and immigration readiness assessment in partnership with PCRC, and this is to address critical regional needs and opportunities. PRED remains committed to creating a supportive business environment and driving sustainable growth in Portage la Prairie. Our efforts in business retention and expansion, as well as investment attraction, are aligned with our 10-year regional economic development strategy.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Ms. O'Leary? Councillor Massey?
Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you, Ms. O'Leary. Just a question, and maybe it's a little more of a topical thing right now that's happening, of course, is sort of the whole tariff discussion with the United States. And is PRED looking at doing any work on that, how it may impact businesses, or are you talking to businesses? It would be nice to sort of know in Portage sort of what the impacts potentially, they're not announced yet, but what those might be in terms of our businesses here in Portage.
Sure. So that was actually identified as one of the top 3 areas of concern. It was the third area of economic uncertainty. So the PER committee do have a plan in place to really understand what the impacts of that means. I don't think anybody really understands what the issues are. We attended a seminar with the University of Waterloo last week, and everything is still up in the air. But I think the most important thing that we took away from that is to not listen to the noise on social media, but look at the signals of actually what's going to be happening in the economy and actually really what that means. So don't have a full answer for you, but as soon as that unfolds, we'll definitely share that information with council and the business community for sure.
Thank you.
Anything else? I think this is a good time to, right now there should be another item on the agenda, and it would be our fourth quarter tourism report. And so I'd just like to publicly acknowledge the loss of our team member, Kelly Verway, in a tragic accident. Not long ago, we had the opportunity to celebrate Kelly's life on the weekend. I just want to give her family and her friends and all those that loved her our sincere condolences. It will be she was a bright light in our community and in our region, and we will all miss her. And I would also like the Pred office to know, we know she was an integral part of your team and that we are here to support you however you need in going forward. But we may Kelly rest in peace. Thank you. Okay, Community Services Committee. Councillor Doyle.
Thank you, Your Worship. I will start off with the fourth quarter reports from PCRC, and I will call on Ms. Kozar to give her report.
Thank you. We had a really big quarter at PCRC. Our local immigration partnership program supported another successful Diwali event and free karaoke night in partnership with the Association of Filipinos in Portage. So they have been helping different ethnocultural communities get established in our community, which has been a long time goal. They also hosted a presentation on private sponsorship for refugees, and they attended the annual immigration conference in Vancouver. In December, they also supported a number of holiday events for different ethnocultural associations. Our second phase of small grants was executed, which saw a number of organizations build capacity through this fund. Our community facilitator was approved for over $36,000 in grants for different projects. And along with that, PCRC supported multiple Prairie Fusion fundraisers in December, including their PLAP toques and socks, which were designed by Rochelle Sissons. And we also helped with their Candygram fundraiser, which I think will be even more successful next year. Our Connecting Communities program supported the Communities in Bloom conference in October, along with the Trick or Treat tour at the library, which saw about 1,000 people. Our Skate with Santa was successful again in December with over 100 people attending. Wawokia has continued to support our community safety and well-being planning process. So currently stakeholder engagement meetings are happening, and we look forward to having a draft of that later this year, which will help guide some of our other work that we're engaging with. Our Reaching Home project housed 10 files this past quarter. So some of those were individuals and some of them were families. And along with housing them, they get them supported with furniture and different necessities to ensure that they can maintain their housing long term. They also received a number of donations to support their work, including furniture from Canad Inns and over 200 pairs of socks from Trinity United Church. One of the biggest things that happened this quarter was our youth hub opening their doors. So we've expanded a lot of programming there, and we've seen more and more youth attending there. So we have some classes from PCI who are attending regularly. We have about 8 youth who are coming in for counseling regularly, and we expect that to expand pretty quickly. We've been very happy to have Michelle McIver join our team. So she's a registered social worker, and she's overseeing all of our wellness programming. And Shay Lernowitz has taken over as program coordinator, and she's doing an exceptional job there, making sure all of the group programming and everything is set up very well. Our Indigenous Seniors Resource Coordinator has kept busy supporting program participants with snow removal, transportation, and appointments, and partnering with Youth Hub and PCI to have youth volunteers for yard maintenance.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's it.
That's, you know what I meant. Just a little note of importance is you can let Rochelle know that Councillor Massey's wearing plap socks for his budget speech tonight, so gave him good luck. Yeah, excellent. Any questions or comments for Mary? I would just say I love that youth hub update. So that is exciting to hear, and you know I follow along and see what's happening on social media, and you can always tell there's lots going on. So kudos to your team
Thank you.
and your leadership, Mary.
Thanks.
Okay, Councillor Doyle.
Thank you, Your Worship. Next up, I have quarterly report for Sudakachicha, the Urban Indigenous Strategy. So it's been a eventful quarter. One of the major focuses was collaborating with the Indigenous Seniors Coordinator to create a list of Indigenous elders with expertise in cultural practices. This list would be valuable for businesses seeking guidance on ceremonies, prayers, and other cultural protocols. There was meetings regarding design options for permanent cultural sites or an Indigenous interpretive site. They had worked closely with the coalition to select nominees for the Urban Indigenous Business Awards and the Portage Chamber of Commerce Best Business of the Year Awards ceremony that took place late last year. The final month of this quarter was focused on supporting community events and moving projects forward. They had attended Winterfest's planning meeting, assisting with preparations for their upcoming event, and also helped the Planning and Funding Committee organize the Elders' Christmas dinner.
Thank you. It was great to have Sudakachicha represented at our SETI meeting, so we hope that that will continue going forward as well. Any questions on that? Back to you, Councillor Doyle.
Full slate here tonight.
Yeah.
Good thing I'm wearing my plap socks too. So the Portage Parks Committee, they said goodbye to former chair Steve Hildebrand in the last quarter, who had moved out of province, and welcomed Councillor Espy as their new chair. So they have a pretty large committee now. So they've also had City Manager Nathan Pito and City Administrator Rochelle Maness join a few of their meetings. So this quarter, they're continuing to fundraise for Simplot Central Park and fundraise for an accessible playground swing at Island Park, and the development, continue planning the development of Simplot Central Park. And goals for the end of this quarter and into next quarter is to continue planning for sponsor signage for throughout the park, the skate park, and Co-op Winter Park.
Thank you. Any questions on that? Excellent. Councillor Doyle?
Thank you, Your Worship. For fourth quarter report, I will turn over to the Youth Council for their report.
For the activities we completed this quarter, we attended council meetings. We met with the Youth Hub to discuss ideas about the future. Was that in December, I think? Yeah. We discussed different...
Could you just move a little closer to that mic there? There you go. Thank you.
We discussed different events that we have planned and different programs that we'd like to see implemented. Yep. And we joined the Youth Council and the Youth Hub, and we're starting to collaborate with them.
We also created and maintained social media accounts on Facebook and Instagram. I believe we have a few hundred followers now. So, yeah, there. We met with Mayor Knox, Councillor Espy, as well as Ms. Van Aert at school to discuss planning on what we should do. We also attended the Chamber State of the Province address, where we met the Manitoba Premier. We also took a picture, which we posted on social media, so that was a pretty neat experience. We attended the Christmas tree lighting ceremony at City Hall, as well as at Vopney Park, just to kick off the holidays. We also took a picture there. Very cool seeing all of the trees light up.
For the activities begun this quarter, we set plans to meet with the SOS group at PCI to discuss problems within the city. SOS stands for Sources of Strength. It's a group of Portage students who are meeting up once a month to fight mental health issues like suicide. And it'd be great to get their input on how we could, as a government, could help them. We collaborated with the PCI staff to organize the council meet and greet and rescheduled twice due to weather conditions. Luckily, it went well. And we promoted the survey on student safety and well-being. Not many people did it, but it is we did put posters around, and it's a good thing that we at least got like the message out. Lots of people are aware of it now.
For goals for next quarter, we plan on doing a survey asking all students, grade 5 and up, what kinds of programs they would like to see. We would also look into opportunities into promoting volunteer options for the Portage youth. We saw a lack of volunteering, and we thought we would hold a fair so that more people could volunteer. And lastly, we plan on installing bike racks at BCI to encourage use of bike lanes that were recently installed over the last few years. So, yeah.
Thank you. Any questions for our youth counselors? Excellent report. Thank you. Okay. We'll move into Public Safety Committee. Councillor Doyle.
Thank you, Your Worship. It's a big day. All three levels of law enforcement have a representative here, so I don't have to read anyone's report, which is great. So I'll get started with the RCMP before Sergeant Turco gets a call and has to run here.
Hello, everyone. If I knew you read this, I wouldn't have come.
Yeah. Is your mic on there? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, perfect.
So going through our stats from last year compared to this year, a couple things came to light. Property crime is down 72 calls, which again, we have to contribute, I'm guessing, to our CSOs because they're eyes and ears for us. We appreciate everything they do. And like I said, I'm glad to hear we're getting 2 more. We appreciate them. So bylaw, same as well. Their eyes and ears. They're calling us with stuff. If they're seeing stuff out of houses boarded up, people are entering these houses, they're calling us. So attempted theft of motor vehicles is down 11. Break-and-enters is down 12, which again, we have a couple key people we put in jail, but again, I think it's the extra eyes and ears. One thing that did go up was persons crimes. And again, that could be just, again, the additional eyes and ears. We get a lot of calls of people getting assaulted. They don't report it, but someone else sees it. So recently we've got 4 cadets that are new to Portage. I believe we're receiving 2 more here shortly. One graduates in March, and I believe one in May. Theft of the grader today. I don't know if most councils are aware of it. We had a theft of a grader from the city garage today. This gentleman is well known to us. We've had 30 calls with him since 2018, with the majority of them being in the last 2 years. It's always drugs or alcohol involvement. He's prohibited from driving, so there's going to be a media release tomorrow as well on that, and definitely someone that should be in jail for a while. So going to our annual performance plan during this quarter. Do you guys have any questions before I go into that?
You keep going.
So to strengthen awareness, education, transparency through regular meetings and consultations with members and support staff, we've had 10 internal meetings this quarter. To ensure the RCMP is engaged with community-related events, we've had 15 community events. to enhance the safety of Manitoba roadways through enforcement of the Highway Traffic Act, including speeding, school zone patrol, seatbelt compliance, insurance registration, and all other traffic-related offenses. We've had 627. And then to ensure safe roadways through extra MPI-funded shifts to increase police visibility in the Central Plains areas, we've had 14. And then property crime prevention through education. We've had 30 opportunities to provide crime prevention strategies to the public. And then community visits, we've had 5 during this quarter. So our calls are down. Could be contribute to a few different things. Like I said, there's a few key people that we deal with regularly. They're in jail right now. So I think that led to some of it. So, and that's basically our report for this quarter.
Thank you. I for one, I like your comments in the beginning there, and I hope that the media picked up on a little bit of talking about how, you know, all of these are different levels of enforcement are working together and eyes and ears out there, and that we're actually seeing some results from that. So that's a good message to our community. And also, I just want to thank you to your team for, you know, as things happen in our community, it's difficult weeks for you as well, right? We've had some tragic incidents happen, as well as we talk about today when you're dealing with, again, the same person, you know, 30 times. It's got to be a little bit taxing on your members and just what you continue to go through. So we're grateful for what you do for our community, and we will, again, support you the best way that we can. So
Appreciate it.
thank you. Anyone else before? No? Oh, you're good. Thanks. Okay, Councillor Doyle.
Thank you, Your Worship. I will now call upon our CSO manager, Caitlin, for the fourth quarter report from the CSOs.
Hello. Thank you, Mayor Knox and Council, for inviting me to speak on behalf of the Community Safety Office. One thing that we're dealing with right now is a lot of changes, and I think they're good changes. Our department wouldn't be where it is without every single person in this room heavily relying on Chief Bailey here as well. As of right now, we are currently sitting at our 4 CSO officers and myself, who has transitioned to being the manager of the CSO department. This transition mostly happened in November. Back in November is when I transitioned from administrative to a management role, and our 4 CSOs, Todd Allard, Seth Bryson, Jason Sanderson, and Lucas Conne, were the ones that stepped up to the plate as our 3 previous CSOs continued on to different opportunities. We are currently sitting at our same hours and operation that we were before, with the hopes of, with our expansions and everything else that comes about, we'll be expanding our hours and our ability of service, so to speak. Right now, we are currently still sitting from 8:30 until 4:30, Monday to Friday. But we understand from the community perspective and from everywhere else that the extension of hours will be paramount to be able to further our service to the community in itself. So some of our statistics that are shown on our report here, we have adjusted, and we now have an effective documentation system for all of our occurrences, our incidents, and anything of the like. They do currently show our call service to have gone down in the fourth quarter between October and December, and I attribute part of that just to the colder months, the weather. It tends to bring everything down a notch. Certain calls may go up, such as mental health calls. Other calls may go down just due to movement and weather and different environmental factors. We have noticed, since our CSOs have been patrolling the areas and consistently on the Saskatchewan Avenue area and within the businesses, we are noticing some of our calls for service that may well have come in have diminished before even getting to that point, just with our CSOs being able to be forefront and visible to everybody. It tends to deter, and we're really happy with that so far. So we're hopeful that we can keep adding on to that and keep doing more to be able to help our community the best that we can. So we are continuing with our one sole unit at the moment. It is an SUV, and we are, of course, like was mentioned before, looking to expand everything, but we are doing just fine with our one unit right now. We have put a temporary halt on our e-bike use just based on the ability to get through the snow and be efficient and safe. As for that, though, our CSOs are diligently learning their new roles. This is a brand new thing for all 4 of our gentlemen that are currently working with us, myself included, for that matter. And they are eager and ready to learn and do and be that force that we can to help the RCMP, to help the bylaw enforcement, and to be that stake down in that center core of the Portage la Prairie area. So one last thing is our unit itself. I just wanted to make mention of that. Our Unit 501 is equipped with, of course, all of the emergency equipment, the lights, the sirens, the safe space in the back if we are to have to transport somebody. The CSOs, up until this point, they have been involved in transporting, detaining individuals dependent on situation. They've been involved in some traffic control and just general safe space type behavior. We do hope in the future to be able to start doing traffic enforcement, but as of right now, our CSOs are doing their very best, learning their new roles, and we will get there. But that is something that we're looking forward to. So that's the gist of what we've been up to. We've been through a lot of transition, and I think starting the year off now with, you know, a solid foundation and a solid space and people that are ready to go and do the things that they're here to do. I'm very hopeful that this will continue to develop and grow, and we hope that we can do our very best for the community. The last thing is some of the things just to touch on that our CSOs did do in the past that we're hoping to push more towards community engagement in the future is, you know, they did participate in the the Christmas parade, the Vopney Park lighting, the tree hall lighting here at City Hall, in addition to the CP rail, holiday train, and all of those types of things. That's something we hope to continue in the future, and to also get involved more so with the schools, with presentations, bike rodeos, those types of things. And we hope that we can do everything we can to be a good support to the community as well. One last thing is I would like to thank the RCMP and the bylaw enforcement as well as everybody in this room and the city of Portage just in general for helping us continue on to grow and to understand and to learn. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Councillor Doyle?
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you, Caitlin. I just want to say I am out and about all around the city multiple times a day, and I cannot leave my house without seeing the CSO vehicle somewhere or the officers out on foot patrol somewhere. I'm not the only one who sees it. Some of our biggest critics have come to me and said, what did you do to this class of CSOs? Because they're very noticeable out and about throughout our city, and that's a credit to them, that's a credit to you, and we really appreciate that as a council. I did have one question that was brought up during the community safety wellbeing engagement session last week. Just from a business owner on the far west end of the city, I wonder if you can just explain what the strategy is. Is it more downtown focused? Is it across the city focused? If you could just kind of touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So our main focus right now, in my opinion, would probably be between 8th Street on the west side and probably around about to the supermarket area on the east side. That's typically where our core area is focused right now, but that's not to say that we can't go outside of those realms. When our officers, typically we have 4 of them working at once during a day shift. We have 2 of them in a vehicle and 2 of them walking. Our folks that are walking, they are going the distance and they are going all the way down and all the way back, but we are working to find a bit of a better strategy to be able to get them into those further businesses. And I think part of that will be the addition of a second vehicle to get them down there, to allow for them to have response times if they are getting the calls for service. But as of this point, we've sort of been focusing on the core area with the addition of the outside areas every once in a while.
That's perfect. Thank you. And obviously responding to calls no matter where they come from. Okay.
Certainly, yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This was an excellent report, and we appreciate the addition for sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Doyle.
Thank you, Your Worship. And now I will call on, is Mr. Adamski still here? Oh, he's hiding in the podium. Mr. Adamski to give the fourth quarter bylaw enforcement report.
Good evening, Council. We wrapped up 2024, very busy year. Sorry, I'm going to flip through here. Total calls for the whole year was 2216, so it was quite busy compared to other years for a bylaw. We ended the year off with 3 dogs, 22 cats in the animal retention facility. Just checking, we have only 3 cats, so spots are opening up for animals and rescues, which has really helped us out. We're able to help out more in that matter too. So rescues are open, more transports are moving out, and local volunteers are helping us out in that matter. This quarter we had calls for service of 495, almost double compared to last year. A total of 300 animals impounded for 2024. More animals dealt with, but that's actually how many animals came into the retention facility. We got the whole team out a few times this year, or this quarter, in the Santa Claus Parade, Trunk or Treat, Fort Lorraine Fright Night. Still doing some Meals on Wheels on their lunch breaks. And we did a serving breakfast with Santa Claus at local Lavrandre School this December as well, which was pretty fun. That was about it. It was busy, but there's not much jumping news that I'll present to you. It's in the report if anybody does want to read it, but nothing really is jumping right now.
Thank you. I for one appreciate. I have definitely seen your community involvement, and I think I'm a big believer in public safety as all of those things, right? And so having a presence in a positive way too helps what you do for some of the enforcement you have to do. And I really appreciate the feral cat meme. So whoever does the report, I really appreciate it.
I don't know. That was on my phone. I don't know how or why, but
it's awesome.
So I made up a story to go along with it. True story, but
love it. Anyone have any questions or comments? No. Thank you.
Thanks.
Anything else, Councillor Doyle?
No, that would be it for me. Thank you.
Excellent. We have no items of old business. We will adjourn council at 7:18 p.m. We will move right into committee. I'll call committee to order at 7:18 p.m. Finance, Legislative, and Property Committee, Councillor Massey.
Thank you, Your Worship. Finance, Legislative, and Property Committee has no report for committee this evening.
Thank you. City Planning and Economic Development Committee, Councillor Meyer.
Thank you, Your Worship. City Planning and Economic Development Committee has nothing to report.
Thank you. Community Services Committee, Councillor Doyle.
Thank you, Your Worship. Community Services Committee has nothing to report from my chair this evening, unless any of my colleagues have anything that falls under Community Services.
No, thank you. Waterworks Committee, Councillor Nichols.
Thank you, Worship. Waterworks Committee does have something I'd like to speak to tonight. Besides having the best tasting water in Western Canada, we've had a fair bit of discussion about our water treatment plant upgrade, and a huge important thing to our council is to be transparent and to let folks and industries and stakeholders know what's going on with this project that we're in design for, and we're partway through design. So what we're doing is we're having an open house, and I'm just going to go through, if that's okay with you, Madam Mayor, to explain some event details. On Thursday, February 6th at 2025, meaning this year, February 6th, yeah, at 3 p.m. No, let's get that in order, till 7 p.m. at the Gillespie Center, Prairie Fusion Arts and Entertainment in the main gallery. Where the format is come and go, And the expansion of the water treatment plant is a vital project that will ensure continued high quality and maybe some more award-winning water services for our growing population. At this open house, you will be able to review project plans and timelines, discuss potential impacts and benefits, meet the project team and have your questions answered, learn about the next steps in the project's development. We encourage all community members to attend and get involved in this important discussion. Your input is valuable, and we look forward to hearing from you as we work together to improve our city's infrastructure. We would also appreciate it if you would please pass this invitation on to others within your organization or community that you feel would benefit from attending. We are also open to setting up additional meetings to discuss this project as it progresses. For more information, or if you're unable to attend and would like to provide feedback, please contact Jared Smith at jared.smith@city-plap.com. And that information will be available to, and Jared's, if you need to reach out to him. So yeah, plan that afternoon, evening, and hope to see you there. Thank you, Worship.
Thank you. Councillor Doyle.
I was having a discussion with a gentleman today who is considering moving to Portage, and he had asked if we drink our tap water here.
Do we?
And I said, if you move to Portage, I guarantee you will be drinking the best tasting water in Western Canada. And it wasn't even a fib.
That's awesome. Thank you. Transportation Committee, Councillor Porter.
Transportation has nothing to report. I just would just like to ask a couple questions, and through your worship to the administration, I'd just like to ask about the progress of some of the snow clearing of the major roadways and the roundabouts, as well as the snow removal. I know that we're having some challenges out there, especially some challenges we had this morning, but I know that I feel that we have several areas that do need the attention. I also feel that our main roadways, such as thoroughfares, such as Saskatchewan Avenue and Crest Road and our roundabouts, need a bit more attention. So maybe if you could comment and on that, as well as the priorities there, as well as where we are with the snow removal and the snow clearing.
Mr. Pito.
Through your worship to Councillor Porter, thank you for the question, Councillor Porter. So crews were out today. One soul of our graders were accounted for, and out clearing following our normal after the last garbage route. So they finished that route, and then they were cleaning up some areas that had some drifting from the weekend. There were some very strong winds, and unfortunately it caused a lot of challenges. So their intention is to move to Crescent, do some cleanups on the causeway area, and then go through our priority routes and just clean up some of the issues with rutting. And we have heard some of the rutting concerns. Now with the warm weather coming over this next week, we're hoping to catch up following our normal after the garbage day routes. Encourage people, if you can avoid parking on the street or keep your vehicles clear of those following your garbage day. The intention is to move forward as quickly as we can and catch up and do a good city cleanup all the way through. So crews will be continuing to work through the entire week, and we'll update the public on our progress via social media.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you for that. And just a reminder to all residents that on their snow removal day, to make sure that it is the day after their recycling and garbage day to bring in those containers.
Thank
off
you.
the street. Thank you.
Thank you. Public Safety Committee, Councillor Doyle.
Thank you, Your Worship. I don't really have anything to report this evening, but I just want to remind everyone, especially with the weather we've had over the last couple of weeks, have some slight snow, lots of wind. The highways have been open. The highways have been closed. Just please, for your own safety and for everyone else's safety and the safety of our first responders, if you could please just stay home if you don't have to travel in these unsavory conditions, because it just kind of puts everyone at risk. And that's all I'll say on that.
Thank you. Okay, should have done this under community services, but I just want to remind everyone we keep talking about, and maybe our partners around the table, etc., can help us with this, but our new city website has the ability for citizens to sign up for email alerts. And what that is that all you have to do is give your email and your name, and you can sign up for all of the categories or some of the categories. And those categories include emergency alerts, tenders and proposals, news and notices, job opportunities, and service disruptions. A great way to stay up to date on this. I will tell you, when I became mayor, for some reason, I started following Medicine Hat because they have this same alert system. And I don't know if I've ever been to Medicine Hat, but I can sure tell you a lot about their city because of these email notifications. So I really suggest that people sign up for them. So if you can help us get that message out there, that would be great, and get more people signing up, including all of our counselors signing up for it would be great. So today, lastly, is our city manager's official last day with the city of Portage la Prairie. I will say that he will be helping us transition to our new city manager. So if he shows up again, we have welcomed him. He's just not. But I just wanted to take the opportunity to make a few comments on behalf of our council team. So Nathan, the support that you have provided to us as council has been nothing but exceptional. You create a very welcoming environment. I think what it does is helps us as counselors who are new in our roles, and sometimes out of our wheelhouses. You give us the confidence and ability to do well in what we do. The way you communicate with us to make sure that we know what we're doing and what we're providing and helping us make the decisions that we make is exceptional. And I'm grateful for that. Like we say, is you help make us look good, so you can take some credit for that. The other thing that I have to comment on, and you know that I'll say it's important to me and very important to our council, is the city team and the workplace culture that you strive for and that you create is one of positivity and one of making sure that your team members can also thrive and strive in what they do. So we appreciate that. You're a champion for our city. We're glad you're staying here. Because you're an important part of our community, and we appreciate that. And not only what you do for the city, but as a citizen and your volunteering, etc., your involvement in Rotary Club, everything. I do know, because one of the comments that I have gotten a lot since you announced your departure from the city is that you will be greatly missed in the municipal world. And that your colleagues, and not only in your CAO colleagues, but also in other municipal officials, really appreciated what you brought to this profession. And the door's always open if you want to come back. And then just also, what you've provided for the citizens of Portage la Prairie is that I think everyone around this table could say that if there was a citizen that needed to talk to you or had a question, you've always told me you can't shy away from difficult conversations. And sometimes that's easy to do, but you don't do that. You went straight on and you had those conversations with citizens, and we appreciate that as well, because we know you had the best outlook for our city. So I know everybody's going to have the chance to say it, but I appreciate the team that we've had here and working with you for the last 7 years, and you will be missed, and we'll see you at the next council meeting. But thank you, Nathan, we appreciate it. And you can have words if you want.
That's a lot to follow up, Ms. Mayor. I do consider leadership a privilege, and being in this role has been a privilege and an honor. working with all of you around this table and those who can't be here tonight. I do consider it a sincere honor to have worked with you to continue building this great community, and I'm very honored to continue in that capacity for the region. I joked with Mayor Knox this weekend when we talked about some snow clearing things. It's the dirty secret about this job is that when you have a great council and a great administrative team, they make you look really good, and it's an easy job. And I've been very fortunate to have a fantastic administrative team, right down to everybody who does anything for the city. I can tell you they care and their heart's in the right place. That includes our partners too. I have also had discussions with our RCMP and all bylaw. Like, we have team members that care about this community, and it makes the job very easy. And of course, council, Mayor Knox, and I had an opportunity to talk to Mayor Ferris and previous council members today. It has been a sincere honor serving with you, and I'm looking forward to continuing working for the region, but I'll also be your biggest cheerleader in terms of your continued success. Thank you.
Thank you. Nothing else? We'll adjourn at 7:31 p.m. Thank you, everyone.